Hello, everyone. Today, I will be talking to you about improv. Improv, what is it? Improv is a way to do theater that is unlike classical theater. In classical theater, you would normally have a text that you will have to work on, make your own, embody, and then go out to perform it. In improv, there is none of that. It's an actor and his mind, only his mind, that are free with creativity, and that's the beauty of it. You're not restricted by a text or anything. It's a great display of, as I said, creativity, but you also need to be quick to do it. You have to be able to listen at the same time as construct the story in your mind. It's one of the purest ways, in my opinion, to do theater. But who are the first people to be like, hey, you know what? We do not need a text. So it all started in ancient Rome. Where in ancient Rome? In Adelan, with the Adelan farces. What are the Adelan farces, you may ask yourself? The Adelan farces were a way to improvise comedy and satire. So they would have masks and characters already developed, and they would create situations by themselves. It was a very popular way of improv back in the Roman Empire, so it was really mainstream and it was done primarily at weddings and big events. It was made for everybody, not an elite part of the population, and this went on from minus 300 BC up until 200 BC, and then it slowly started fading away, just like the Roman Empire. And for a long, long time, improv went under the radar until La Commedia dell'arte went and kind of revived the Phoenix. And it is basically the same thing as the Adelan farce, except there are guidelines for the story and the characters are recurrent every time. So you have, uh, for example, characters like Pantalon, which is an old, grumpy, horny man, or Harlequin, that is greedy and malicious. And it's a very human way of theater. It talks about universal problems and it critiques it in a way. It has been done since the 16th century, but it is still done to this day. And you see many of these characters very flamboyant that are used to this day in modern culture. For example, you've got Harlequin that is used in Batman. Next up, Quebec. What what could have Quebec done for improv? Well, we are the province that created the improv game. The improv game was created on April 21st, 1977 at the Experimental Theatre of Montreal with Robert Gravel, who was supposed to do 10 representations of this concept where they basically took the hockey game and theater and mixed it together. And of course, all of that was improvised. Um, the format takes place with two teams, both of six people, and this takes place on a sort of mini hockey rink, and they have themes, cards, and there is a referee that reads those cards, and there is a theme, a time, sometimes a category, and the number of players allowed on the game. And the public are the ones that decide which team has the point, and whoever has the most point wins. That is the format. But this concept really took off after Robert Gravel created the LNI, Ligue Nationale d'Improvisation, or National Improv League, which you can see he really got inspired from hockey because he mimicked the NHL, National Hockey League, National Improv League. He's a smart fella. So after he did that, he created seasons with regular teams that would go against each other. But what made it skyrocket into Quebec mainstream was the first televised game in the 1980s. What that did was give an eye to this great form of art. It was perfect for the mainstream because it has a little bit of everything, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of theater, a little bit of characters, a little bit of sports too, and a little bit of competition. Who doesn't love a mix of everything? That's why it's so popular. So popular, in fact, that today it's the RSEQ, Régie des sports des écoles du Québec, that managed
Sports.
schools for high schools and colleges. What that did was that it proved that improv was at the same level as basketball or football or any other sports. It really isn't a sport, but you see how the competition gave it some shock value. People wanted to see what was that kind of sporty art all about. It's a great mix of both worlds, and it was a great gate for many people to get into theater because it is so accessible. You don't need to know a text. You just need to go on stage with your mind, and it is a great way for people to express themselves because they can write without a pen and pencil. It's just a place where people are given a voice and can exude how they feel and can take a break from being their normal selves without the constraint of learning a text. So it's a very easy form of theater and it's a great gateway. And now I'm going to talk to you about my favorite form of improv. The Herald. What is the Herald? Where did it come from? The Herald came from a Chicagoan improvised artist named Del Close at the Improv Olympics. So his idea was to create a format where an improv is built on teams with the help of the public. So it is in 4 acts. The first act, the public chooses a theme. With that theme comes the second act where actors hop on and off the stage throwing lines that are according to the theme, and the ones that catch on with the reaction of the public are the ones that stay throughout the third beat. The third beat, they take those lines and they start to construct a little story with it. They start to do little scenes, and those one liners evolve into these little stories. So we've all sprouted these trees with beautiful stories, creative, funny, dramatic, even sometimes. But at the end, the fourth and final act, everything has to come together at the top to create this kind of improv tippy where everything comes together to create a full story that goes according to the theme. Why do I love this so much? I love it because it is a great way to connect with people because there's no competition. It's all about one team trying to do a great show for the spectators. I also love the freeing aspect of it because, in general, in an improv game, at a high level, the maximum is 20 minutes. And at a low level, like I do, the maximum for an improv is 5 minutes. So you don't really have time to make your idea sprout into a big, beautiful story tree. But with a Herald, it generally it is generally about 1 hour and 30 minutes, so that gives you plenty of time to construct and build depth into a story. And that is what I love. It is also very freeing for the actors because of the broadness of the themes. It is generally very easy for the actors to create something, and it is a great reflection of their mind and a great exercise for that creativity. That's why I love it so much. Now that I've talked about the Herald, let's talk about you and why you should be doing improv. I think that you should be doing improv because it is a great way to be creative, to make friends, to get out of your comfort zone, and it is also a great way to express your creativity. It is also, in my opinion, one of the best gateways for people that don't like art to get into art. Because, you see, improv is very easy to do. You don't need a lot of preparation, you just need to be yourself and assume it. It is a great way to assume yourself too. Accept who you are and accept that sometimes you won't make the best improv. Just like sometimes you won't make the best discussion. Because a discussion is just a big improv. So if you want to get into improv, do it. Because it'll make you better. Overall, better.